He hasn't spoken a word.
Hello, creeps. It's your old pal, the Crypt Keeper. And you are now tuned in to my good fiends at Talks from the Crypt, the most gruesome podcast in the world.
I'm just getting you get the same ear ones you have. Were they like molded to your molded? Or
these ones specifically weren't, but they do make custom ones, and it's the best. If you've ever seen the show, I'm always doing this.
Yeah,
and it's because they're not custom. So
David just got me for I guess it's for Mother's Day. He got me the molds or whatever to attach to the Shure, whatever, I don't know, because this is it bothers me with my glasses sometimes, and I need to hear myself.
But it does make you feel like you're on the radio, so they're nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I pay more attention.
Right. So you mentioned, just a second ago about being a child actor and kind of the things that internally go on from growing up that way. Mm-hmm. And, we see people like Amanda Bynes or Gary Coleman was a very popular example. And, some people kind of blame the child actor sometimes. And I just feel like not enough people really know. What kind of pressure, because you started when you were 8, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of pressure is on an 8-year-old who's now, siding with Bruce Willis and Steven Seagal and some of the most famous people in Hollywood at the time?
I think that I always laugh when someone says, like, did you always know you wanted to be an actress? It's like, I was a kid. Like, I wanted to do whatever would make my family happy, whatever. And that's why kids play sports too. It's like, you like it, but you don't, you do it because you want your parents to be proud of you and to be happy. You don't really know what that means until you're much older. So I think there's a lot of like mixed feelings and confusion, and then you're successful. So then you're adding to that, and then you're getting the attention because you're successful. And then how do you keep writing that? Mm-hmm. And a lot of kid actors, it's an adult world. Right. I always say like our union, SAG, is the only union that employs children, but yet there's really like minimal rules, and especially in the 80s, minimal rules and real like people that are really concerned for the kids, because all our union board members, your managers, your agents, your parents, your lawyers, like everyone's kind of getting something from the child, right? Mm-hmm. They have a stake in the success of the child, so they don't want to fuck it up.
Right.
Even the social teacher, even the social workers on set, they don't want to step up to the producers and say, "This, you guys can't do this." And there are some, and they're much better now, but back in the day, everybody worked for the producer. Uh-huh. You don't want to get fired. You don't want to be blacklisted as like someone difficult to work with. So you're forced to do a lot of things that make you feel like you have no voice. And then you get older and you're like, I'm not okay with that anymore.
And you just have to suppress all your actual emotions, basically?
Yeah, you have to suppress everything.
Yeah.
You can't be, have a bad day. Even as an adult actor, you have to be professional. You have to check it at the door. I guess that's kind of any job for the most part. But
well, you could be spotted out in public. That's the only difference between that and a real job.
People will talk about you.
Yeah. Or they'll see you at the supermarket. And if you're not, smiling, it's, I met Danielle Harris last week.
I was actually talking to Scout about this yesterday or day before yesterday, because there needs to be like a convention etiquette class for volunteers and for fans that are attending. Mm-hmm. There's no like guidelines or rule book for like how things are supposed to be, but yet we get frustrated when people just don't know. For example, I was picked up at this last show that I did by a volunteer, right? Which usually a volunteer. Her first time, she's never driven a celebrity from anywhere. She'd never even met the promoter. She'd answered an ad on Facebook. So here I am getting picked up by a complete stranger, getting into a car with a complete fucking stranger who's driving me somewhere where I don't know where we're going.
Yeah.
And from the moment we get picked up, we have to entertain, like, because they're going to go tell everybody what kind of person we were in the car.
And small talk is fucking terrible.
Especially with someone you don't know, and you're like, oh, great, this is a 45-minute drive.
Yeah.
And now I have to do my job and make sure that you love me, and you're going to talk about how cool I was in the car or whatever. Or when I was doing the convention, there's a lot of like really weird, I don't know. This sounds horrible to say, but I don't know if COVID fucked everybody up or if it's just the way the times are. But there's like a real like social etiquette like something's not right. Used to
Yeah.
be there'd be like people on the spectrum that come to shows. You kind of know who they are, kind of know how to handle the situations. You give them some grace, you know, when they get too close or touch you inappropriately or come into your space.
Ooh,
And
people touch you inappropriately?
well, no, it's just like, you know, I've had guys like there's one guy I know every time I see him, he asks me, and he knows I'm always going to say no, to take pictures picking me up.
Jesus.
Like I'm a 48-year-old woman.
Yeah, it's like, don't touch me.
Why do you want to pick me up and
it's also like,
hold me?
you smell, not you, him.
Well, there's another thing. Like, gross, people. Like, they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know, you're coming to a show. Like, how are you? I mean, I did a show. This is so awful. And I talk about this at panels so people get it. And I usually go into it, base it off of like Kane and his pump a dump spray. You know, if you know how he always like carries those to shows. Have you seen it or heard of it?
Is that the fart spray?
It smells like, someone did something. It's worse than that. And once you get it on you or in your nose, you can't get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that came from like years of people being at shows and you're like, God, how do you, because you have to, you know, I'm in everyone's armpit, right? Because I'm short. So no matter what, I always try, you know, when they come over to take a picture, they're like, oh, let me put my arm around you. And here I am with my shoulder right in here.
Oh, you feel the moistness?
Well, especially like this handler that helped me this weekend was lovely, but he was really giving people their money's worth by doing like photo shoots during the selfies. So it's like click, 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 click. Now this angle, click, click, click. Make a pose, click, click, click. And here I am, my shoulder's soaking wet from Homeboy's gross body odor. But now I only have one jacket.
Right.
So no, I don't want to wear that jacket on the plane home.
Nope.
You know, like what do you do?
Yeah, that's gross.
So just stuff like that. That's like, come on. Or like there was a security guard that kept like sneaking up on me because he knew I wouldn't be scared. But like, don't fucking sneak up on me.
Right.
I'm going to punch you in the dick.
Exactly.
So like, that's not cool. I don't know you and you're in my space and you're being weird. So, but how do you can't say like, hey, don't do that. Because then they're going to be upset that they upset you. And then they're not going to be able to get it out of their head. Or they're going to want to apologize for it 10 years from now. And you're like, dude, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Or I don't even know what you're talking about. Like it wasn't like you've been holding on to this for 10 years.
Right.
So I think there needs to be like, hopefully Scout and I are doing a good job at saying like, hey guys, when you come to a show, here's some basic rules.
Yeah.
Like do this, do that, do this, do that. But these should be kind of common sense stuff, right?
But I think you're right when you say the pandemic kind of screwed everyone up. Like I've never had social anxiety in my life.
Yeah.
After those 3 years of being inside, when I go anywhere, I'm like, everyone thinks I look retarded right now. I'll probably beep that. And I want to go home.
I love
feel
that word.
uncomfortable.
I don't know why I can't say anything.
Right. There's like 5 words I can't use anymore and it sucks.
I was at the waiting to meet my friend Serena yesterday and this guy at the bar was like, you know, blah, 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 what do you do? And I was like, oh, you know, I'm an actor. And he was like, you mean actress?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, actually, yeah, I do mean actress, but I felt like I had to say actor because I'm trying to be PC, but I'm an actress.
Or Julia Butters in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
She's like, actress is nonsensical.
I mean, I don't know. There's too many rules.
Yeah.
There's too many rules. Anyway, I can go off on a tangent about that stuff, but.
So when you got into this at such a young age, I'm just imagining this is your mom pushing you to do this, right?
Yeah, I mean, she says I wanted to do it, but I mean, maybe that's true. I don't know. I mean, I definitely remember enjoying it. I also had a lot of like drama and stuff going on at home, so it was a really nice for me to get a job and be on set. The structure is really important.
Right.
I'm also very A-type, so it helps me to know like what my day looks like, what time I'm getting up, and I still make lists. You know, like what time I'm going to eat lunch, what time I get to go home, like what the day is for. Like I kind of need that. So I liked being on set. I liked working as a kid. I wanted to do it once I got the bug. And then I also had a million people around me that were self-sufficient and handling themselves and adulting. And my mom had me really young. So 21, I guess that's young.
Yeah.
So to sort of have a bunch of people around you and learning different things and being, you know, treated well. I was treated well as a kid on set. I didn't have any of that like bad, thank God, those bad. But I mean, I look Amanda Bynes, you know, we're talking about that stuff.
Or Corey Feldman. I mean, he's got some crazy stories.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, honestly, guys had it a lot worse.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. all of the actor kids that I hung out with growing up, they were 100% predators, and they would go after the guys.
Wow, because when you think about it, Drake Bell, Corey Feldman.
100%. And I know, I mean, the guy that I did that to Drake. Like, I used to go over to my friend Jeremy Miller's house, and Brian lived in the back house. And, we'd always like have sleepovers and hang out, and there were a bunch of other actor kids. And, it was very common to have acting coaches, managers, publicists. Like, I mean, I hung out with a ton of older manager guy friends that my mom was like, oh, good, I trust you with him. You can stay out till 1 a.m. at 14, 15 if you're going to be with these adults that will take care of you. So I didn't really get that weirdness, but I definitely had a ton of my younger guys around that I felt like were definitely not safe or preyed upon.
Do you think that was the time, or that was the industry at the time? Like, was it just the fact that it was like the 80s, 90s? I mean, I don't even know, because if you think about it, Rebecca Schaefer, she ends up getting a stalker. Some dude comes to her house.
Yeah.
So shit was just entirely different.
But I mean,
back then.
she's the reason why there's the threat management in Los Angeles. Like, police have their own division because of her, which they're the ones that I've gone to. Man, I have a restraining order now against someone. I had one for years against somebody else. So
people get really creepy with you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I heard about one, but it was a while ago. The fact that it's still happening is mind blowing.
Yeah, it happens all the time. There's always, my husband does a good job of kind of monitoring that stuff. But he knew when this newer one had come about, with YouTube, like he was posting stuff that I wasn't aware. And so when I brought his name to David, he was like, oh yeah, I have my eyes on that guy.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, well, so now he's making videos about wanting to rape me in front of my children and do all these horrible things. Actually, it might have been raping David in front of me. It was like horrible, horrible stuff. He's not well. He's an older guy. He lives in New York, lives with his mom. I'm sure she had no idea. I mean, he's in his 50s, this guy. So, again, has issues, but you just don't know if people are going to act on stuff. So you have to go through the whole process, and it's easier now than it was back then, having to go to court. And, even when I was in my 30s, that first stalker came back. So I had to go to court again and get another restraining order years later, and having to explain it to a judge who's, in his 70s, like, no, it's on social media, but it is directed towards me. Yeah. So there's still weird laws and stuff that people don't really understand how to navigate around the obsession that celebrity. And then now we give them full access to everything. Oh, and then they're like, oh, don't share, police, don't share on social media where you're going to be until after. It's like, I can't not do that. Like, I do appearances. Mm-hmm. They have to post where we're going to be.
Some of them are by contract.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So I have to do it no matter what. And we're just sort of sitting there. So, then I have security. I mean, I was going to New York, which is where this one stalker is, wearing a bulletproof vest, having security and sitting by an exit door. It was no longer working that I had Kane Hodder and Tony Todd sitting with me, who used to be my bodyguards, essentially. They were like, nothing's going to happen to you, D. Yeah. Like, we're here.
Right.
And it didn't. But I don't know, people walk in. They just started having, like, there's no metal detectors unless you're at a convention center.
Interesting. So they don't even check you. Yeah, that's true.
No, now they finally stopped letting weapons in. But you know how many years I had to take pictures of people holding real knives next to my throat?
Oh my God. Next to your throat.
Yeah. Okay, mind if I put this here? And you're like,
yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird little, and we're in a weird little genre. 90% of the people are great. It used to be 98%. Now there's like 10% that I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's more people are on the spectrum than there used to be, or COVID fucked them up, or there's something else going on with mental illness. But it's definitely shifted in the last couple of years. I'm seeing more and more and more of it.
Now, do you think the fact that you're stalked by Michael Myers, do you think that these guys watch it and kind of fantasize about it a little bit?
I'm sure. I mean, I don't know.
Does it accentuate your fear having been in all of those films? You're like, oh shit, this could get real sticky.
No, I mean, look, there's people on, I think people that post their tits jiggling on whatever, I would say, TikTok. I'm not even on TikTok. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. Probably have it just as bad, if not worse. And they're inviting it. I'm not inviting that stuff into my life, but it still happens. But I don't want to ruin it for everybody else.
Exactly.
It's like, I don't want to then not do this because of something, but But it's a scary time.
Yeah. Well, and you do a lot. I mean, you stay really busy because
I try not to, but it's like I can't help it.
well, you've been acting, directing, you have an online store, you do live events. I mean, there's about 50 different things you do, and you've been doing it consistently since the 80s. I mean, what keeps you going? Like, how do you keep that energy?
I have no idea. I'm winding down though, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's like, what do I really want to do? You know, what if I could pick, what would I really want to do? You know, I love interior design. I love doing design stuff. I love doing home renovation stuff. But like, what am I going to get a show? You know what I mean? Like, could I just disappear and like, I don't know. You know, Scott was like, do you want to break? Do you want to stop doing the podcast? Like, I don't want to not do this.
Mm-hmm.
This is enjoyable for me.
Well, and it's fun. Like when you get to hear that other people have the same problems as you.
Yeah.
That it's not specific. Like you guys mentioned on that episode, how like you'll send a text message and for 45 minutes, you're like, oh shit, do they fucking hate me because I just sent that?
Yeah.
Hearing you say that, I was like, oh my God. Like if Danielle Harris feels this way, then I don't need to feel like I'm insane.
No, I mean, we're all human. You know, I think there doesn't need to be a separation. We just have to be, we have to have another side of us that always has to be on.
Right.
So it gets a little tricky when you start to get over needing to be that way, which is I think where I am now of like, I kind of want to be a little irritated right now with whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
But that is only like, because I didn't ask for what I needed or I didn't set those boundaries, or these are all things that I'm still learning kind of how to navigate.
Yeah.
Because you're hired for something, you know, you want to just be accessible, whatever you need, whatever you want me to do, however you want me to be, like, I'll be there. And then go like, oh, wait, well, why do I have to be here 2 hours earlier? Not here, like at a show, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't need 2 hours to set up 5 pictures. Like, can I just, you know, I don't know. So starting to learn to ask for what I need, or I need more time, or I need this, or I need that is the child actor in me that's learning how to then have a voice and ask for what she needs.
I mean, you were saying that you're trying to get to more things you like doing. I mean, interior design is one of those things, but how did you like directing? I feel like that'd be great for you.
I've had 2 interesting experiences, you know, the first one, among friends, a lot of, a bit of crazy energy, I think on set, you know, some weird, I learn more. I mean, I learn something every time I work. From every single movie, every job, I learned something, which is interesting because you're like, that hasn't happened before. I didn't think that was going to happen, right. You know, good and bad. And with Among Friends, I had a little bit of an issue with one of my friends who was also in the movie. You know, when you think your friends who you hire, you think they're going to show up and give you 120%. So when your friends come to set and they're making it more difficult for you, and these are your friends, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm confused. How is your behavior this way when I would never do this to my friend? Wouldn't do this to anybody. So I was a little bit confused. So we had a little bit of like, also working with women is difficult. I mean, I'm a woman. I can tell you, if you either have like a group of badass chicks that work together, or it's a shit show.
Right.
And
How
more
so?
often, I don't know. Girls are fucking crazy.
Just emotions.
Women are crazy. I don't know.
Fights?
There's this weird stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like we now are trying to prove ourselves, and I don't know. There's just weird things I don't have energy for. So it was a little bit of power struggle, a little bit of struggle. Being a female director at that time too was newer-ish.
Was it 2012?
It was 2012. Yeah. 2012. Having to like direct some of the guys in the movie. I had to get a little bit more like, hey, pay attention, listen to me, you know, and then when I took control of the set, I remember, I don't know who I was talking to or who I was dating at the time, somebody, and they were like, whatever male, say Tarantino, like, would he allow that on his movie? How would he respond to that situation?
Right.
I was like, yeah, he would never. Nobody would do it to him, and he wouldn't allow it to happen.
Yeah.
So how do I then have the confidence to go, this is my set. You guys can't do this, can't act like this. I'll give you an example.
It's because it was your friends.
It's because it was my friends.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucked up.
Well, they say don't work with family and friends because they just don't take you serious as they would take a stranger, which is odd. You'd think it'd be the other way around.
It's very strange. And I think it still happens a little bit, even though there's mutual respect. So it can get a little bit confusing. An example would be when I did Among Friends, we had a premiere of The Victim, a movie that I did with Jennifer Blanc and Michael Biehn, and who brought me in to meet with Alyssa Lobaden, who, she got the project going. It was all because of Jen that was like, I'm going to give this to you. And I think it was like day 3 or 4. I knew that Jen had to leave with Michael to go to a screening of The Victim. Even though I was also in it, I was like, obviously we're in the middle of shooting. We had like 9 days. So I shot everything out on one side of the room, knowing that like where I placed them, I knew this day was coming. So before I'd even started as far as making my shot list, these people have to be on this side of the table because this day they're going to leave halfway through. So I'm going to shoot all their stuff and then I'm going to turn around and we're just going to shoot. Sorry guys, you're not going to have anybody to act to, but I don't know what to do. This is what was in the deal. So, so God love her, but Jen was so excited about leaving that she decided she was going to invite 2 of the other actors that were also in the scene we were shooting that day. She wanted them to go to the screening. And I was like, you can't, I have to shoot the rest of the day. You can't, like, I don't know what to do. You can't just take the other actors that are on the other side of the screen. Like I didn't get any of their coverage. And her and I just had it out. And I couldn't believe that she was like, well, they're going. They're coming with me. And I was like, what do I do? Like, you're fucking me right now.
What do you think that is? Why would she even make a decision like that?
I don't know. She's just a little kooky, I think. But it was just a weird, like, we'll figure it out. It's like, well, but they're not even in the movie. And now you've ruined my date. Like, I can't. So her and I got into this thing and then she didn't want to talk to me. So then we had to go through the producer who, like, she'd give notes to the producer and then the producer would have to come to me and give me the notes that she, like, whatever she was saying would have to go through a third party. And she's my best friend. So like weird stuff that like now I would never even agree to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're working. So I was just so grateful to have the opportunity to direct something that I think, I was just like a yes person. Yes, yes, yes. Then when I was like, well, I don't know what to do now. Now I'm confused and I'm outside with the DP going, how do I make this work? How do I make this work? I feel so stupid. I can't figure it out. I don't know what to shoot. I don't know what to do. Our whole day's screwed. And like, she's going to take off with them. And if I don't let her take them, then she's going to be mad and going to cause more problems. And I don't want Michael to be mad at me. And, it just becomes a whole bunch of bullshit.
Well, then you did another one with Scout just recently, right?
Yes, yes.
Was that a better experience?
It was different because we have worked well together for so many years, even though we don't have a real clear idea of who does what. We know what we're both good at and what I'm okay doing and what she's okay doing. So we kind of just like without saying handle things and then it comes together.
Right.
But with directing, I had a little bit of a harder time. She was really overwhelmed, and as I was, but she knew the crew. They were her crew from other movies, so she had a different relationship with them. And a lot of crews are not used to working with 2 directors at once and not 2 women at once. And we're also the stars of the movie, so it gets to be a little bit confusing for the team, I think. And they also had a relationship with her and not me. So it was a little bit of me like following around, trying to go, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Which I don't like that feeling. So then I felt like I wasn't doing enough or my job enough. And then she was going to be mad or she was short-tempered with me because she was frustrated about other things. And then I was getting sensitive. Here's the girl thing again, you know? So a guy had been like, fuck off, where I'm like, what did I do? How do I make this right? So we've worked everything out and had conversations since, but there was definitely some challenging aspects. Neither one of us will ever direct and be in anything again. And we're going to continue to do stuff as actresses together, but we're going to hire a director to do stuff. So we can just focus on what we want to do. But
would you direct and not act?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. So you're not done with directing.
No, it has to be like something I love though. I really believe that directing a film is like a 2-year or 3-year process.
Yeah.
You have to want to live with it for a couple of years. Like we're doing all the festivals now. Scout's already directed 2 other things, another movie and another TV show. And she's on to do 2 more things this year.
Wow.
So she'll have done 6 movies this year as a director.
That's great.
There's no fucking way I would be able to do 6 movies. I can barely do 1 movie as a director because I spend so much time being a perfectionist and really making sure that it's great and dotting all my I's and crossing my T's and doing everything I can. And then I want to travel the festival circuit with it. I want to go and see it with everybody. I want to work the crowds. I want to do boots on the ground. I want to sell fucking CDs out of my trunk.
That's why Hatchet was so
for sure.
huge.
Like Adam's a great example of that. Even when we did Stream, I said to Michael Levy, I was like, I know we're going to open in theaters. You should have each actor go to a different theater because fans will show up to watch the movie with someone. Like, I'm going to be in Austin. Let's do a theater in Austin. Like,
right.
let's do it at the Alamo. Like, I'll roll in and watch it with fans.
Or Galaxy. I saw the Galaxy one.
Yeah. I mean, it's still, that's where I was, Galaxy. It's really important to have like old school way of promoting your stuff.
Yeah. Well, with how hard it is to get distribution and the suits, they're so difficult to deal with. It's almost, we're in a world now where the winner is the person who's best at self-promotion. And that's kind of how it goes. And it's unfortunate, right? Because you have to do things you're not necessarily comfortable with. I mean, much like yourself, I don't really like putting myself in the limelight. I mean, fucking here we are in front of all these spotlights, but I do it for what it gives me in terms of satisfaction. I feel like I feel that with you as well.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy the creative aspect of it and the business side of it. I think there really is a method to the madness, but it's the once everybody starts to know you, it's you were saying like you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, so you don't ever get like time to just have a break. And then when you are on a break, you're busy creating 8 million things and doing all of this shit. Mm-hmm. By the time you're done putting all this together, you have to do the next one. Yeah, like it just never ends.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard.
But I couldn't imagine how much harder it is for you. I mean, you have 50 times the amount of things that I do, and you have children.
And I'm missing stuff. I mean, that was also one of the things that I think that I was having a harder time with, that Scout wasn't aware of, was like missing important things. Like we were supposed to shoot in July, then we got pushed to December, and I was gone the month of December. So I didn't get to see like Jagger's first kindergarten play on stage at his school. I mean, I was FaceTiming. I mean, those are things that are really important that I'm never going to get back again. So I missed a lot of things that I was really upset about. And I think I should have said, no, I can't do this now. Like this has to, or like, we're overwhelmed with post right now. We've been doing a lot of stuff and having timelines. And there's that part of me that was like, why are we rushing to, what's the point? And that was kind of the thing with Among Friends too, is that I was given such deadlines for things that it became more of like, because I said so, or power struggles, at least for that movie, not ours, but for that movie where you're like, I just need there to be a reason why things are a certain way, especially when I'm having to sacrifice other things in my life to make things happen. It can't just be because I wanted it and because I said so. If we're on a deadline for a festival, or there's things, but there's weird, I don't know. And then especially now with social media and everything, like everything is immediate. So there's no time to do. You can't wait. Yeah. Like I have to put out a new show every week. We took 2 weeks off and like everyone was freaking out.
Yeah. I was freaking out. I was like, where's the episode?
Yeah.
No, I really do like your guys' show just because it is kind of, you get to hear about all these inside stories. And I think it was Malcolm McDowell in Rob Zombie's Halloween, ironically enough, where he's like, fame isn't all sunglasses and limousines. Yeah. And it is really one of those things where when you start to dig a little bit deeper, you're like, oh no, this is a job like everything else. You just 100%. Don't wear a hard hat.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a job that's also invasive and doesn't ever stop.
Yeah. And that wears on you.
It's exhausting. Mm-hmm. Especially as you're getting older. I was talking to your girl in the car about like aging and how we see ourselves, and it gets complicated. And then you're like, well, God, who was I talking to? I was talking to, oh God, I was talking to Robert Englund actually about this. We were at a convention and somebody pulled the fire alarm and we had to go outside, and we were waiting outside and everyone's trying to bother him and talk to him. And he and I were chatting, and I was saying something about, because he's such a talker, and I was like, I don't know, why are you not doing like your travel show? Like, why are you not doing, like, he loves to talk about places he's been, places he's going, if you're going somewhere, what to see, what restaurants to go to, what hotels to stay. He loves that stuff. He lights up when he talks about it. I'm like, when are you going to do that already? Yeah. And he was like, I don't want to be on camera. Like I'm different now. I don't want to, I don't want to do that. I don't want to put myself out there with what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, oh, even you're feeling that because people are talking now and saying stuff and it makes you insecure. And, you know, I don't know. It's a weird little, people are aging. I see it too. You know, my favorite movie stars that I saw growing up, when I see them old, I'm like, oh my God, that's not how I know you.
Yeah.
What happened? But you're like, oh, like I was just watching Major League and looking at Charlie Sheen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I have certain actors and celebrities in my mind that will forever be embedded that way. So to see them any other way other than how I expect them is jarring and disappointing for me.
Yeah.
So I can imagine other people, or like there was a kid at the show this weekend and he's like 12 or 13 and his mom kept saying, this is the kid from Halloween. And he was like, what kid? There's so many kids. And I'm like, well, there was really only one kid in Halloween other than like the original that you would know.
Right.
Really, even though there are kids in it. And he looked at a picture and he was like, oh,
that's you?
That's you? Like couldn't comprehend it, you know?
I think you look the same. I mean, I'm sure you get that all the time.
I'm trying, man. I'm holding on to it. But you know, there's a difference now. So I get that little part that's like, I don't know if I really want to like succumb to this. I don't know if maybe I should do something, get behind the camera and do something a little bit different. Because,
have you tried writing? Because I feel like you have a lot of control on the paper.
Yeah, I mean, I rewrite everything I get anyway.
Cool.
You know, it was like with even if we've hired writers, I do most of the writing. I'm a great rewriter. It's hard for me to sort of start the process. Scout and I come up with ideas. It's a daily thing with us. It literally is a daily thing. If you saw our text messages, we don't stop. It's constant ideas. And what about this first story? What about that? Let's do this. We'll do this for our next one. Like I had this idea to tell you about this dream I had. Like it just is never ending. She's as fucking neurotic as I am about that stuff in a creative way. So I am writing a memoir right now, which I've been working on with Kane's writer actually for a while now. And
Al Liozzi?
Yes, yeah. Mike. And it's been great. I'm doing a documentary as well at the same time.
When do those come out?
When I can finish doing what I need to make it happen. You know, they've been interviewing everybody. Our documentary team has been doing everyone's interviews, which is really weird because I'm going to feel like I'm going to my funeral. Like, I don't know the questions that they're asking my friends, and they're doing it at conventions or privately in studios where they're bringing them up and they're having these like half-hour interviews about me. But I don't know what they've said until I see the documentary. I will have not known what my friends are saying about me.
Yeah.
Or what they think of me or what, you know, it's really weird. I literally am going to feel like I'm going to my funeral.
Right.
And also the book too, you know, I have to be careful with how much do I want to use real names, you know, whether it's from past relationships to celebrity people to family stuff, trying to figure out like how do I protect them at the same time am open about my experiences?
Yeah, that's a hard thing, especially depending on the context.
Well, there's a lot of stuff, you know. What do I want my mom to know? You know, what do I not want her to know? She's going to ask me questions. There are certain things that I talk about in the book that I just won't name names. And even if she comes and asks me like, who did that or what did this? Like these are things that I'll never tell anybody.
Yeah.
So then what's the point of bringing it up in the book if I'm never going to say, but why do I really need to say the names of people?
I love those tell-alls though, you know, the ones that are in detail.
Yeah.
I remember Michael Berryman wrote a book and there was a experience he had with an actor that his manager was really, don't put his name in it. I'll beep it. Steven Seagal.
Oh yeah.
I heard he's an asshole.
Oh yeah, I have a story with him that I will again another one that I'm like, do I put this in the book?
Mm-hmm.
You know, is this like? But I've talked about it.
Yeah.
So what's he gonna do? Come after me for saying what really happened?
Give you the 3-inch punch. Make your.
I
heart
mean,
burst.
he's known around town as stunt guys will tell you. I mean, he's definitely every stunt guy's got some story about how he really, you know, fucks with you if you're a stunt guy because he'll actually punch you and do things to you.
It looks like it on camera.
He does. Stunt guys are like, don't fuck with me. You know, they know that he's going to do it and they're not having any of it.
Mm-hmm.
So there are those stories. My story, your book, you'll know about, but my only casting couch experience ever was when I was way older, in my 20s, and it was for a Steven Seagal audition.
When I hear casting couch, my mind goes somewhere else. What do you mean you say casting couch?
I got called I had an audition for, I knew it was weird. I had an audition for a movie where there was no script. And it was, you're supposed to play a teenage prostitute, heroin addict prostitute. So come to Sunset Hour at this time on this day. There's a bunch of different female characters in the script. They are not going by photos. They are going to pick your picture, and then you're going to come in. And then when they see you in the room, they're then going to decide what role you're more right for. So just go looking like this. And when you get in, they'll give you the size, and then you'll have time to go outside and work on them and come back in the room. I was like, okay, sure. No name of the project. I got no information. And I went to Sunset Hour, and there were a bunch of other women in the room, most not actresses, most models, with their big books. And I was like, I came in as the actress looking like ass because I was supposed to be a heroin addict prostitute. So I had gross, greasy hair, makeup from 2 nights ago. Like I was doing my job, and we got taken up in an elevator. And it was like, okay, when this girl comes out, here's the order. When this girl comes out, you go in. She comes out, you go in. She comes out, you go in. Like, okay. And the girls in the elevator are like, do you have an agent? Who's your agent? I'm like, oh my God, what is happening here? Because at that time there was still maybe like 10 or 20 of us that I would see the regulars at most of those auditions, where you're like, look at the sign-in sheet. You're like, oh, so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. And I wasn't seeing any of those girls there. So I went in, and Steven was sitting at the end. It was like a movie at the end of like where your mirror is, in a chair with arms, and his German Shepherd.
Ponytail.
Oh yeah. German Shepherd wrapped around a leash on either side of him, like king on his throne. And the producers were like sitting on the couch. And I walked in, I sort of stood there and sat in my seat, and Danielle, and he said, I'm Steven, nice to meet you. And producers are kind of whispering. And I'm just like, don't really know like what I'm supposed to do. And I said, I actually, I already know, like we worked together on a movie many, many years ago. I played your niece in a movie called Marked for Death. And he was like, right. Oh, okay. Well, and he said something weird, but it was like you're not the same little girl I held in my arms all those years ago now, are you? It was just something a little bit like, no, I'm not, and then there was a moment of like, I think he's like, how's your mom? And I said, my mom is good, thanks for asking. And because I was like 12. And then like the producers and he kind of had a look of like, oh, she's not one that we're going to be able to get to. We need to not include her in whatever this is that's going on.
Yeah.
Like she's actually an actress and you guys know each other. And, but it felt like when I left there, because I never obviously got given sides or any call back. But I left there going, was there actually a movie being cast? Or was this like something else going on in here that was like, who's going to go run lines somewhere late tonight that doesn't know what they're getting themselves into?
Yeah.
It just felt weird to me. I have no idea, but I've never been in that situation where I need to be physically looked at. The only times that ever happened was for auditions for Entourage. Was like, you need to come in wearing something tight and they're going to do a full body shot and then maybe you'll get to read, maybe you won't. I was like, I'm never going to get this job. It's for one line.
Yeah.
And here I am like, I'm not what they're looking for this character on Entourage. Like I'm not that girl at the pool that like, I'm not that girl. But those were kind of the only experiences that I ever sort of had with, I don't think this is what it's claiming to be.
Well, and that's good to hear though, because you've got morals, so many people will stoop down to that level just to get the job, you haven't even really done nudity in your films.
No, I mean, only in Rob's. And that was really like, that was a strategic decision on my part.
Well, and you were covered in blood. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a little bit in the beginning I wasn't, but then, laying there on the floor. And also like the women that get naked in Rob's movies look like normal women.
Right.
They're not like, listen, no offense for fake tits. I have them now that I'm older, but like, it was like, I knew that would make people not see me as a kid anymore. Because I was still like the kid from Halloween.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, this is interesting how this decision to do this is, and it wasn't the Linda role. It was like a meteor role where it just sort of was what it was.
Yeah.
It was like nudity was in passing. It wasn't focused on. And even when we did it, I was like, everybody leave me alone. Like, I just let me lay on the carpet and covered in blood. Everyone comes over with fucking towels and this and that. And you're like, you're making it worse and more uncomfortable. And, you know, Scout and I had this conversation on her movie that I was in that she directed the beginning of the year. And, you know, it was like doing an intimacy coordinator. There was no, not even any sex. It was like a little bit of a kiss, leaning back to start to have a sex scene. We cut the moment we leaned back.
Yeah.
It was with Brendan Fair. It was super sweet. I was like, you guys are making this weird. The fact that like you're closing the set for a kiss that then we fall back onto the bed fully clothed is very, you know, and Scout, I don't know if you heard this episode, but she's like, it's for the comfort of everybody else too, Danielle, in the room. It's like, yeah, but you know what's happening that day and you know what you signed up for. And like, if you're fucking weird about it, then go outside.
Yeah. And it's like, you're not the one who has to kiss this random person.
Right. Thank God I've been lucky. You know, I've only had only one guy that I was supposed to kiss in a movie that I was like, do I have to? You know, I don't really know. And then the director was like, you don't have to do that.
Jesus, now I'm curious.
Like, okay. Got it. Hey. It was a movie from forever ago. And it was just a kid that came on for a day thing. And I was like, I don't really, you know, I think I was like 19 or 20. And I was like, I really want to make out with this kid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's odd. I mean, you look at certain people who have done nudity throughout their career, and there's kind of this narrative that doing too much nudity could end up like ruining your career later on.
But I mean, also, I mean, that's kind of where I find myself too in like social media or Instagram. I mean, I never posted pictures in anything like sexy. I never did any of that stuff until I really like kind of like got married and like maybe it was because I wasn't secure yet. I wasn't married. It felt like putting myself out there was like, I don't know, slutty without having that to be like, I'm doing it because I feel good about myself.
Right.
So, but I was in my 40s when I finally was like, I only have this little teeny tiny window where like this shit looks okay. So if I can still look this way in my 40s and I've had 2 kids, cool, because I'm not going to be able to do that much longer. But then I see, you know, there are other actresses that I am friends with that are also in horror that post a lot online of, you know, scantily clad or completely naked. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Why don't do that? Don't do that. You know, like, it's bringing attention, but you also, those are the posts that get the most likes, the most traction, the most, you know, it just is what it is.
You feel like social media is kind of fucking up the public zeitgeist?
Kind of. Yeah, of course.
That, like just direct tap into attention and love. And it's just, I don't know. I think it's messing with everyone's minds.
Everybody. Nobody knows how. I think that's what I think that's a big deal with what I was saying earlier about the social etiquette at shows. Mm-hmm. You know, not knowing how to be with people because you're on this thing. And I think it's like, the immediate stimulation. I see it with my kids. It's a really hard thing to navigate.
Yeah, but I know you limit their time on the iPad, which is a good thing
but
to do.
I'm guilty of like, fuck, I know I set Alexa for 30 minutes and you're supposed to be off, but I'm right in the middle of something. Yeah. Alexa, okay, I'll give you 25 more minutes and then like I have to be done and then you're still not done. You're like, they're never going to believe me next time I say it.
Yeah.
So I have to be consistent with those things. Mm-hmm. But I also really want them to watch movies. Like if they were to watch movies all day, great. Even TV shows, great. It's these 2-minute shorts on Facebook that I'm like,
seconds, yeah.
It's like, you know, it's like dumping in their brain, dumping, adrenaline, whatever all that stuff is. And then everything else is like, now they need it while they're eating. They need it while they're in the car.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I mean, I try to read books a lot as often as I can because it really trains my attention. But after a week of scrolling on social media and getting back into a book, you notice your brain will check out after about a minute.
Right.
So it's really doing something to
But don't
us.
you feel anxious when you are skipping through stuff? Like I have a habit, and it may just be me, of I like to like put things in carts. Like I'm all about like putting clothes in carts and like, but I'm just like, oh, I like that. I like that. So I'm like, now I'm learning to like just heart things and not actually add them to a cart.
Yeah.
Because I'll never check out. And if I do, I regret it because I'm like, I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
I shouldn't be like, what do I need all this stuff for? It's like Amazon, like what is that?
And they'll send you notifications like, here's the next thing you want. And I'm like, yes, I do want this fucking thing.
Right. So you can't, and then it's like the addiction to having it the next day. I mean, I live in the country, so it's I swear 3 years ago, I couldn't get shit from Amazon for like 3 days.
Oh yeah, you moved to Texas, right?
I did, yeah, and I'm out. I'm outside of Austin, so like I can't get food delivery easily. I mean, they always go to the wrong. Like I'm on their like do not deliver to her list because I can't find her house kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I really am stuck at home. So all I want to do is like, get that high off of like what I want that I don't have access to. I mean, yesterday morning I'm in Vegas. I'm like, I have to go shopping. I have to go. I need bathing suits for my next trip, and I can't get them in Austin without taking 3 hours to get to where I need to go to get back, and it's a day.
Yeah.
So fuck that. I'll just do it. But
what was the decision to move out there? Was it to disconnect from the madness?
Yeah. I mean, LA sucks.
Really?
Yeah, LA just sucks. I mean, there's no need to be there for acting. I wasn't doing anything in LA anyway, and everything is so expensive. And we had wanted to move 3 years earlier, but we had moved from Studio City out to Simi Valley just to get just like a baby jump to go from like lots of stuff going on to, I wonder if we could kind of be out here, and then COVID hit. So we basically renovated our house, just David and I, for those 3 years. And then we were like, okay, now I'm ready to get the fuck out of here. Right. And my older Carter was just about to go into kindergarten. So it was like, now's the time to make the move. Where do we want to go? Mm-hmm. And I wanted my kids to be boys. I have 2 boys. Like I wanted them to fix things and be in the dirt, and Jagger's like, motocross bike riding. And I mean, these are things they wanted to play sports. And I really wanted that like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, manners, gentleman, cowboy, like I'm very sort of old school traditional in like gender roles kind of. Yeah. Even though I'm working, like I still really value the mom stuff. Mm-hmm. And I wanted my boys to grow up to be men. And I just didn't find that they were going to have that opportunity in Los Angeles.
Would you let them act?
No way.
Really?
No.
So that answer has to come from some level of experience.
They just don't need to worry about that shit. Like even when they say like, oh, mommy, if I whatever, I want to buy you a house. And I'm like, awesome. You can want to buy mom a house all day long. But even if you're like, even when my kids are older, I will never have them pay for anything. Mm-hmm. Their own shit for sure. But like when we go to dinner, I will like mom and dad will always take care of you. Family vacations, like I don't want my kids to have to, no matter how old, like I'll always take care of my kids. So I think that this is the way that I feel. A lot of parents get their kids into the business because it's cash cow, right? And if they're successful. And I feel like, and I talked to Corey Feldman about this actually quite a bit, as well as Keith Coogan about, there's only like 5 states that put away 15% of a kid's money when they're minors, Coogan clause, right? So the other 85% is just gone. And that's what you're giving up your childhood for. You're giving it up for everybody else's prosperity, and you're not going to get that back. And then you're only getting 15% when you're 18 for all of that you did. And then like, if it were flipped and the kid got 85% and everybody else had 15% to divvy up amongst themselves, I don't think any parents would get their kids into the business. Yeah. No matter how much they were like, I want to be famous. Like, I mean, look, I feel the same way. I'm scared for YouTubers. It's the same thing, except there's really no rules for those kids. Right. And those kids are being like, everything important that happens to them is being recorded. Yeah. They have no privacy, no say, nothing. No one controlling their hours, no one controlling if they go to school or not, no one controlling their income. Their parents are taking all of their money. I don't give a fuck what they say. Hopefully they're kind and responsible adults where they're, like Ryan's World kid, I hope to God that his parents have put away that kid's money. Mm-hmm. And that when he turns 18, he's going to have millions and millions and millions of dollars. Yeah. Because what was it all for if to not then have some peace when you're a little bit older?
Did your mom do that for you?
No, I mean, my mom didn't work.
Yeah.
You know, my mom was busy taking me around. So I was financially responsible for the family, as most of my friends in the business were. I think I had 2 friends who were successful. And I'm talking at a group of maybe like easily 50 of us, I would say, whose parents continue to work their own jobs. And we're like, if you want to do this, that's fine. But like we have to hire someone to take you there because I'm working. And they still supported their kid. You know, like my friend Tatiana Ali was on Fresh Prince, and her parents continued to work, and they lived the lifestyle that her parents could provide, not the money that she was making. So when she turned 18, you know, she went to Harvard that she paid for out of her money that was put away. No questions asked. She was driving a Range Rover. She was buying a house. These were all things that she was able to set herself up for, where we all bought homes. All my friends bought houses at 18 because that was all we had. That was what we had from our childhoods. And then we were like, oh, fuck, now what do we do?
Right.
Now that's gone, now, how do we navigate this?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I was just actually talking to a woman recently that I found on Instagram called Stop Clicking Kids. And it was the same thing when my kids are watching other kids on YouTube. I have to like say, you understand what this is, right? You understand what these kids have to do. And there was that show, it was a documentary recently about that chick that just went to jail with her friend. I forget what her name is, out in Arizona. She was in, the fuck is her name? But she basically tied up her children and locked them in the basement kind of thing. You remember that story?
Yeah. A couple stories like that.
Rosie, I forget what her name is.
Something Rose?
Yeah, something. I should know this, but
she's like an influencer now, right?
Yeah, she was. I mean, she was like the church. I mean, she was Mormon. I think she was Mormon. Huge influencer for moms. Mom influencer, whatever.
Yeah.
Come to find out, she's fucking crazy, and she's like, you know, duct taping and starving her children to death.
Jesus.
In these, like, you just don't know. You know, you just don't know what the lives are like. Except there's cameras everywhere.
Right.
You can imagine being a kid and not having privacy.
Yeah.
Not having space and having your mom like need to. Even when I pull my camera out now, I'm like, is it cool if I video this, or are you cool with it if I take a picture of you, or come here? But if I feel like they're not into it, I don't want to, I'm not getting anything out of it. It's for them.
Do you feel like your upbringing and the way you kind of progressed through the industry is separated from that? Or did you get a little bit of those negatives as well?
Yeah, I don't, it's shocking to me that I actually have quite a few actor friends that, and I do give credit to the adults that are on those sets that were able to maybe see kids that needed to be guided, that kind of took that role. I had a lot of those growing up. My mom was a great mom. You know, she didn't come out and bother me. She stayed in the trailer. She kind of did her thing. I mean, she was definitely not the stage mom, even though at home I definitely had that, like, you need to get your shit together. You have an audition, or you need to or stop doing this, do that. Like, there was a little bit of discipline at home with, like, you have a job to do, now do it. When I just wanted to be a kid, you know, I just wanted to like dick off and swim, or like go to school things, or all those things that I wasn't able to do. But a lot of my friends that were kid actors have a very different understanding now about all of that stuff, or right. they ended up not well because they couldn't get out of it. So, but it's still trying to navigate. It was different times too. Mm-hmm. Different times now. I mean, my dad died when I was young, and then my mom remarried, and then I started working, and you know, my mom was like, I could go back to work and hire someone for you, but we will not have this lifestyle. We just won't. I mean, here I am making a couple $100,000 a year at 12 and 13. My mom didn't go to college. When, you know, she worked a little bit before she got married. She's working at a jewelry store. Like, what was I okay with? I was like, well, I'm not okay with not having a cute little house and not being able to go do things and not have a car to drive. And so, and I like doing it. So I'll just keep doing it.
Right.
Then you're like, holy crap. Now I have to get this job. And the moment you smell desperation, you're never going to get a job.
Right. I feel like desperation shows that the person wants it more, but that is true.
But like, so then why not give it to them?
Right. Exactly.
If they really need it or they really why not do that then?
Yeah. It's typically those people that'll work hardest for it.
100%. And
Right.
are the most appreciative and the most professional and the most gracious.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that are like, I don't know. It's like dating. I mean, it's the same thing. You're like, that person is not responding to me. I have to have them. You're like, when the person that's showing up, but then you get older and you're like, oh, wait a minute. What am I doing?
Yeah.
I am not going to do this anymore.
Right.
Like everything that I do now is I'm thinking about how that's going to fuck up my kids in the future.
Good way of
how do
thinking
I
about it.
raise them? How do I teach them? How do I do this? Because I want them to be this way.
Mm-hmm.
So I want them to be independent, but I also want to make sure that they feel like they're safe and they're taken care of and nurtured by their mom. So how do you, like my kids even now, like I have to lay with them to go to sleep at night, or they have to lay with me. I don't have to lay with them. They have to lay with me. But I have two, and it's like we alternate nights. It's like one night Carter, I have to lay with Carter and to put him to sleep. And he wants me to rub his back while he goes to sleep. And then I'm like, am I creating like a little bitch mommy's boy? Because when is this going to end?
Right.
It
never does. I ask Alex to scratch my back to sleep too. So
I mean, is that what's going to happen? Like, am I setting him up for like needing, for being a spoiled brat and like wanting a good luck dating? Like, I don't know if I'm fucking him up by taking care of him. So then I'm like, okay, tonight you're going to put yourself to sleep. Like, you have to know how to do that. And he's like, Mom, I can't go to sleep. But like I created this monster.
Yeah.
But I also go, well, wait a second. And then I read, that like I could tell that when I lay next to my kids, there's a feeling of ease and like contentment. Like their whole little body just goes, I'm safe. So that's really important to be able to, like, I'm like doing something to their nervous system that's helping them. So by just physically being near them, I can feel the transference of energy between us. So I don't want to not give them that and allow that to happen. I'm not going to be laying with them when they're in fucking college, Right. But I do remember having a boyfriend in my 20s. We went to visit his mom and his parents in Michigan, and he held his mom's hand when we were crossing the parking lot out of the movies going into the car.
How'd that make you feel?
I was like, what the fuck? Like, you're like, that's gross.
How long did the relationship last after that?
I mean, it was a couple years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but it was still like, I don't know. That's like is that a weird mother-son thing? I mean, what's your relationship like with your mom?
I feel like similar to yours, because I've watched a couple of panels where your mom will call you and it's like identical reactions. I'm like, do it yourself, please.
Oh God.
You know what I mean? It's my mom's Egyptian though. So she's very traditional. Family is everything.
Right.
So it's, typical mom clinginess, but you carry around this guilt, right?
Always.
Like you're not answering her call and now you feel bad, and whatever you're doing for the next 4.5 hours, you're just thinking about, damn, well, what if she needed me? She's going to be old. She'll be dead one day. And it's like, I'm going to regret this later.
Well, that's the thing. I got a text message from my mom on the way to the airport. And I hadn't talked to her all week because I'm in post and things have been so crazy. You heard my show this week. Like, I'm just overwhelmed. So my mom knows that I'm working. She's, we've texted here and there or whatever, but like I usually see her all the time. But like she lives across the street from my kids' school. Like, we're in and out. I've had my nephews, but like, it's not like I don't see or talk to my mom all the time.
Right.
I'm East Coast Jewish. It's the same thing. Like that's just the way you are. And she messaged me like, hi, I haven't talked to you all week. I know you're really busy. I also called the kids. They never answered when I called them. I hope everything's all right. Maybe I'll get to see you next week.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was just a whole lot of dumping on me right there.
Yeah.
There was a whole lot of like, and I thought, why don't you call me if you're missing me and you know that I'm busy, you're the mom, call me and say, I know you're crazy.
Yeah.
I know you got stuff going on because I haven't talked to you. Just letting you know I'm here if you need me. Or I sent something, I'm just dropping off some food because I haven't talked to you. I know you're probably nuts. I'm just going to help out. Because she's just sitting home doing nothing, waiting for me to call her to do something.
Yeah.
my mom's retired, you know, so she's like, she's got too much time on her hands. So I was like, fucking just say like, I'm upset.
Right.
I didn't see you and don't guilt me about it. And then, cause now I'm feeling guilty. Like, okay, now next week I have to make sure that I take my mom to do something with me for the day. I gotta go. I'm gonna go to fucking Home Goods, or we'll go do something that she wants to do, or, you know, or whatever. And she hasn't seen the kids. Then I'm like, well, I'm gone. The kids are home all weekend. If they didn't answer the iPad, Mom, probably because I've limited their time since they started camp to 1 hour a day. And if they're on for that hour and grandma's calling, they're like, whoop, I got to play. I'll talk to her later.
Yeah, I'm not using my hour.
Don't get offended by that. Like, they're kids, you know, they don't not love you. I don't not love you. Just then tell me you're upset. And so I didn't respond. And then the very next message was, are you mad at me? Did I do something? And I'm like, there it is. Yeah. There it is, Mom. Just ask me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no, I didn't do anything. I'm not mad at you. I am crazy busy right now. I love you. I'll talk to you when I get back in town. And the kids are home all weekend if you want to see them.
Yeah.
Come and get them anytime. So she did. She went and she got them. They went to Olive Garden. They spent the night. I'm like, just ask.
Funny how we're wired like that as humans. We need interaction with other people to feel validated in what we're doing.
I can't do that though. You know, that's like a weird, like for me, that's like that. There's a trigger. So like, I know if I touch base with my mom, whatever anxiety or shit she's got going on in her head, and I know this because I am now the same way, feeling like I did something or someone's mad at me, or you know, what do I need to do? I didn't talk to that friend. They might feel like I'm not a good friend. Like, how do I make this better? I'm like, I'm not going to do that to that person. So when I hung up the text message to my mom, I looked at David and I said, I will never do this to my kids. I will never write them a message that is making them feel bad about something, because my mom needs me to make her feel better about whatever she's feeling. Yeah. And I don't need my kids to make me feel better about anything. I will, like, you live your life and do your thing. And I'm always going to be here and check in on you and let you know, like, that I'm your biggest fan, and I will make an effort to see you and make that happen. I'm not going to wait for you to do it. Yeah. So I could then be upset with you that you didn't do it.
And are you the type of person that needs 100% of your brain when you're working on a single thing, no matter how simple it is? You need 100% of your focus.
I never have 100% of my brain.
Interesting.
But that's a chick thing, I think. Like, guys, you guys have like one tab open at a time.
Yeah, I need one tab.
I have like 80 tabs open.
Yeah.
Because while it's going on, it's, you know, while in the middle of doing something, I also have to think about the 12 things that are coming later on in the day.
Right.
When I was, you know, single and just writing, it was like working on stuff. It was like I had music, I had cocktail, and it was like just like smoking cigarettes and in it.
Yeah.
That's not my life anymore.
Oh, so you smoked cigarettes.
Oh yeah, I smoked for way too long.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Do you think THC helped your overthinking, or did it accentuate it?
It really depends. I mean, I think it depends on which gummy, because I smoked cigarettes for so many years. I won't vape or smoke. I won't smoke a joint because I'm afraid that I'll want that again. And it's been, oh my God, 12 years, 13 years since I stopped smoking. So it's been a long time. Right about the time that I was like, I start to see that I'm looking a little bit different. I maybe should stop smoking cigarettes. And my friends that kept smoking look like shit now. So I'm like, just about the right time.
Yeah.
Before it could have done like permanent damage to my face.
What age did you start?
14.
Oh my God. So we started smoking around the same age.
Yeah. I mean, that's when most kids start, I think.
Yeah. I found a pack of cigarettes in my dad's backyard.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I hit it, coughed, and it was a personal challenge to not cough anymore. Little did I know I'd be smoking for the next 15 years.
I first smoked when I was still in New York. So I was 10 was the first time that I think I got a hold of a cigarette.
Wow. That's young.
Yeah, I was also like, I grew up in Queens, you know, I mean, it was like different, all the boys and, you know, Bensonhurst. Like I was kind of a little bit rebellious anyway. So I definitely got all my friends smoking. I got all my friends, like all my girlfriends would come to parties with me and they would like lose their virginity, or like I was the first one to like introduce them to weed. I mean, I was for sure like very professional and very like always showed up for work, always did my job, was always a good kid on set, and then off. That was like another person. Right. But I never took it to the next level because I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to, if I didn't work, how was I gonna take care of everybody? So I never allowed it to get to that point. But I think I remember my mom having Virginia Slims. We used to call them vagina slimes, but Virginia Slims, and I took it from her and I took like a cigarette butt and I lit it in my bedroom. and I put it out in a little dish in my closet. And then I think my mom had come in and was like, what is that? And she's like, you took this and put a burning cigarette in in a closet with your clothes. Like, you're to fucking lit the house on fire. And then that was it. And then, then cut to coming to LA at 13, and then all my little actor friends.
What made you move to LA? Because I know at 10 you auditioned for Halloween 4.
Yeah.
And so you had wrapped Halloween 5, and then after that you moved to LA.
Yeah, there used to be, back in the day, there was pilot season where like all the kids from all over the country would go to LA to try to get a TV show. Because they would make 50, 60, 70 pilots a year, and then they would pick up 20, when there was only ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. It was like 4 networks. Actually, Fox was like just kind of a newer thing, and that was like the edgy shows. You knew, it was a Fox show because Married with Children kind of put that on the map, and Simpsons and stuff. So, so you would come to LA with your parents. You would stay at this place called the Oakwood, which I never stayed there, thank God. And you would audition for stuff and hope to get a TV show. You'd be there for 3 months throughout the summer when kids were on summer break, and then you would go back to wherever you lived, or you would stay because you got a job.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a TV show, but I got movie after movie after movie after movie. And then I just stayed. I never went back to New York.
Yeah.
Ever. I never even went back to the house that I had been living in.
Wow.
From when I came out, I never got back on a plane to go back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in being 8 years old and getting added to a franchise, and not just a franchise, but literally, I mean, the title was The Return of Michael Myers because he wasn't there in 3. Everyone was pissed.
Right.
4 comes out. He's back. I mean, that's a big fucking deal. At 8 years old, did you understand how?
No.
Or you weren't 8, were you 9?
Yeah, I was 10. I turned 11 on 4. So I was 10, yeah.
And you'd never seen a Halloween film before then?
No. I was just like, oh my God, I had no idea. And my mom, I don't think it really even knew. We didn't really know what we were getting into or like what it was. I don't think, because we hadn't really watched that. She wasn't really into that stuff. So we had no idea. I was just like, oh my God, I get to go to Utah for 2 months and don't have to go to school. And I get to stay up late and get a hotel room where I can order French fries at, 8 in the morning if I want, and sign a piece of paper and don't have to pay for it. Like, it was like
and party
a
till
dream.
6 in the morning with everybody. I heard about those
that was on 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. 4, I was still very much like a kid. And then 5 came on. It was a whole different vibe on set.
Yeah. You guys took over the hotel.
Oh yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I had people like Greg Nicotero, who were like father figure. Like, Greg taught me how to drive. These are people that I developed a relationship with on set who continued to sort of look out for me after. I used to stay summers with Mustafa Akkad at his house because his daughter Lana was one of my really good friends growing up. So I would stay there throughout the summers, and we would just like be kids. And his driver we'd go to like Magic Mountain and Knott's Berry Farm and like swimming, and we'd hang out and movies and make stupid videos. And I'd try to get Lana to smoke cigarettes and introduced her to porn that I found somewhere from a VHS tape from some house that I was just, always starting bad things.
That's amazing though. Do you still have a relationship with the Akkads, Malik?
Malik actually just sent me a t-shirt for my birthday, which was so fun and weird at the same time. I was like, I've never gotten anything from Trinkus my whole life. And then randomly I get a t-shirt of myself from Halloween 4 as my like happy birthday from Trinkus. So it was a little bit like, this is crazy. Like, this is a random thing, you know? I didn't know. He called and asked for my mailing address. And I was like, am I getting served? Am I getting sued for something? Like, what does he want my home address for? I was all scared,
Yeah.
I didn't know. So yeah, Malik's great. He's obviously, he was a PA on Halloween. So I know him from back then.
Yeah.
I would live in his house growing up. He wasn't really there because he was a teenager. So he was already like off doing his thing. But I loved Mustafa was really great to me growing up.
Well, their involvement in the series, there's always this debate whether it was for better or for worse. And, I was curious what you thought about that.
So Dwight Little wrote a book that I'm almost done reading it. I'd stopped it because it was all about directing. Then I was done directing, and I was like, I can't read any more about directing because I'm done with it right now. But it was like inspiration and sort of motivation for me, and trying to learn things from him because I do adore him. And he was talking about the process of working with Mustafa and kind of Mustafa taking a chance on him. It's a really good read. And he really like championed anything that Dwight wanted. He was like, I'll make that happen.
Right.
The network wants this, but you want Ellie Cornell, like, he was like, he couldn't find the right Rachel casting in Los Angeles. He was like, I'm not, or was it New York? It was one or the other. He couldn't find it. He was meeting all these like actresses. He's like, I'm not getting the essence of what I want.
Small town girl.
Yeah, something just different. And Mustafa said, we will fly you and cast in anywhere. Like, you name it and we'll make it happen. And there are not a lot of producers that accommodate the director as much when they have requests like, fly me here and cast girls from this place, unless you're like a big director.
Right.
So I think Mustafa really was like, you have the vision and I want to make sure that I get it right for you. And that's awesome.
I think their involvement was for the better, even though they kind of put their hands in too many places. Because if it were up to John Carpenter, the whole Halloween series would have just been anthology.
Right.
He just wanted it set on Halloween, different events unfurling. So without the Akkads, I mean, even Yablans, I call them Yablans though, these guys wanted Michael back. They wanted to capitalize off the success of one.
Right.
So, I mean, without them, would we have even gotten the Michael Myers? Would we have gotten Michael Myers again?
Right. I don't know. Probably not. I mean, I think that they were very smart businessmen and knew that there was, I mean, people always say like, oh, is Halloween over? It's like, no, Halloween's not over. They're always going to make these movies. As long as you pay to go see them, they're always going to make these movies.
Those new ones were fucking abysmal. And people, I've made a comment before. I get lynched about it on the show all the time. I once said that Rob Zombie's Halloween is better than John Carpenter's, which is an overstatement. I'm just defending Rob. I don't think it's better because John Carpenter's is a 5 out of 5. There's not a single fucking thing I would change.
Right.
Rob's, I'd change a thing here or there, but not much. Maybe just a couple of creative decisions. Take the white stallion out.
Yeah.
I like that touch, but
that was weird.
Yeah,
and that was added.
Yeah, on set. I heard.
It was added.
Like, he saw a white horse and he was like, "All right, let's write this in."
I mean, that movie was that was. I just feel so bad for Rob. I mean, I just felt so bad for him with the shit that he had to go through with the studio, and it was so hard to watch something that he loved so much just put such a bad taste in his mouth.
Right. Now, I know this might be a question for Rob, but I'm curious because I hear that all the time. What he had to go through.
Yeah.
We never hear what he had to go through. We just heard that he had to go through things. What was it? I mean, I know they were breathing down his neck, but that can't be that bad.
I think it's just a lot of studio input and really dumb shit all the time and making his job really fucking difficult to do what he wanted to do by continuing to add or change things or, and that's the way studios are though. Even now, I mean, it's very difficult to not, and they say stuff that's like, wait, are you kidding? Or are you being serious? Yeah. Wait, Michael's going to space? Like, this is not real. It's really not. Like, this is supposed to be funny. So I think Rob's better at just being able to do Rob.
Did you get to read like an original screenplay and know what he wanted to do? And like, do you know
it was
everything?
From what I remember, it was exactly the way that he wrote it.
Okay.
It wasn't, they didn't change stuff from the first one. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of things. I just could see Rob pulling his hair out all the time. So I don't know what phone calls were happening or what was going on or what it was, but there was definitely, I mean, I wrapped 3 times from the second one and had to come back and do more shooting and then wrapped and come back and do shooting and then wrapped. So bad that on Halloween 2, I wrapped and then was called to go back like 2 weeks later or something. I remember it was on a Valentine's Day. I left from LA to go to Atlanta and I got there and I'd been there, 2 other times. So the person that normally picked me up wasn't there. And I was calling production going, hey, I'm here. I don't see anybody. And they were like, what do you mean you're here? I was like, what do you mean? What do I mean that I'm here? I'm literally at the airport. Like, I'm here to go to work. They were like, oh, well, we pushed your days. Nobody told you? Well, you sent a car for me and I got on a plane with tickets that you booked for me. So at some point, somebody should have canceled one of those.
Right.
And I wouldn't be here. But now I'm fucking here. So now what do I do?
Yeah.
So I either stay for a week and do nothing in Covington, Georgia. And I'm an hour from the hotel, hour and a half from the hotel. Or I just go book me on a flight. I'm going to go right back to Los Angeles for 6 hours on a plane or whatever. So that's what I did. I literally got off, got my bags from baggage claim and turned around and got back on a plane. But it's stuff like that that's like, how is that happening on big movies? Like, how are people making these mistakes?
Well, you think that once you break a certain level, everyone's now professional.
No, it's always a shit show. There's always no matter what. And you're like, wow, really?
Yeah.
How is that stuff still happening on things where this shouldn't be happening? At what point does it just work well? Because I've been on everything from, $100 million budget movies to $100,000 budget movies.
Right.
And stupid shit happens on both.
How did you feel Rob did with both Halloweens?
I like the second one. People
like the
don't.
first?
I love the first.
Okay.
I think he did a great job with the first. I wouldn't change anything really. I didn't love aspects of the second one. I wish that it would have just kind of been like Brad and me and Scout and like that storyline in the house with the sheriff and kind of her losing her, things happening to her and more personal stuff. I didn't like the way Loomis was in the second one. I didn't like any of that stuff.
He vilified him. It was
just
a little
weird. It wasn't what I knew. He was getting that way in the first one a little bit, but I was like, he's amping it up, you know? And then he became this like douchey, like, I don't know.
It was kind of funny though.
It was funny. But then I go back and rewatch Halloween 5.
Yeah.
And like Loomis is fucking horrible.
Everybody gives the ending of Halloween 5 shit. I really like that. You climb in the
Him breaking
casket.
out of oh yeah. I thought I was going to get caught on fire in that scene though.
Oh, because all the candles surrounding it.
Yeah, and I'm in a fucking crinoline dress that is like super flammable with streaks and tips, sprayed aerosol, flammable shit all over me.
Jesus.
And I'm the one that has to jump out of a coffin that's slightly positioned on a bathtub
Yeah.
with 8,000 candles around. Like,
right.
That's the stuff that like they would never be able to do that now. There's the 80s,
Yeah.
like never happen nowadays.
Which is crazy.
Can you even have candles lit on set anymore? Probably not.
Nope. I've got some over there. Hopefully we don't catch
Oh
on
yeah,
fire.
no, you're fine, I think.
But no, I mean, I think Rob Zombie's Halloweens are the greatest horror remakes possibly of all time. I mean, I love the Hills Have Eyes remakes, but both 1 and 2, I couldn't figure out what rating to give them because I love them both so much. Your story in 2 was incredible.
I liked that storyline and that relationship. And I think, I think you could see the chemistry between Scout and I and Brad and I in there. It seemed real to me. That seemed like the Halloween movie vibe.
Mm-hmm.
The other parts didn't seem very Halloween to me.
So you didn't like Hobo Michael with the hooded fucking puffy jacket?
Yeah, I mean that was a bit. I didn't want to see his face. I didn't want to see any part of his face.
Yeah, that was. I agree with that. But man, when Brad Dourif is leaving for work or Sheriff Brackett's leaving for work, and he's like, all right, I'm going to bring home pizza. You're like, make sure it's not gluten-free. He's like, why don't you just take off the cheese and eat the cardboard?
Oh, yeah.
But then he comes back and you're like, what happened to gluten-free? He's like, oh, I forgot. But you guys get into this brilliant back and forth about eating meat. And he's like, we all have a little caveman in us. And it cuts to Michael fucking cutting open a dog.
Yeah.
And he starts eating it. And you're like, what the fuck? And then it cuts back to you guys laughing and eating pizza. And that was just such Rob's style that I loved. And to see your trauma into, because everybody always focuses so much on Laurie's story, but with you and how different you were in 1, the fact that you didn't go out on Halloween touched me. I was like, oh man, she's staying home. She's not even going out to party. She's so hurt.
Right. Yeah, true. I mean, I never thought that my character was going to survive. I only knew that Annie was going to live after I read the script, after I got Halloween. I had no idea that. I thought for sure it was just going to be an exact remake of the original. So I was surprised by that and then excited. And, we filmed a scene where it was cut out of Rob's Halloween where I was being taken out on an ambulance with my dad there and Loomis there. That they cut out. So I was like, I wonder if I'm going to be in the second one. But I think he gave me the opportunity to do a lot of stuff in the second one because it was me, not because of the Annie character.
Right.
I think he wrote that much more stuff for me to do.
Yeah.
Because it was me.
Well, a lot of people talk about how Rob's dialogue is very vulgar on female characters, but you brought a flavor to Annie where I thought the vulgarness worked. Linda's was like,
Yeah, it was a bit much. But the thing is, Rob listens to you on set. Yeah, like Rob we would get like revisions and stuff. And I would say to Scout, like, this sounds kind of like what we were talking about yesterday. Is he like sitting somewhere? Because you're loved, you know what I mean? So it's like, and he would always be at the monitor kind of like, you know, watching, but like headphones on. You're like, are you? Because we're having girl talk.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think about it. And you asked him, you know, and he was like, well, I mean, I'm getting inspiration from hearing you girls, because he's like, I don't know how to fucking 17-year-old girls talk. I don't know how to write for 17-year-old girls, but listening to you helps me.
That was Deborah Hill's whole thing in Halloween. You know, that was her involvement. She wrote pretty much all the
females.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell the difference. It's even working with my writer, with Mike, like I definitely, you know, my book was both of us, and now it's really going to be more me writing it with him sort of guiding the structure, because it really needs to be in my voice. Because he sounds different, because he's a dude, you know, sounds different.
Do you do morning pages?
Mm-mm.
You should try it. It's great. I think, with someone, I have a hyperactive mind. I mean, I either hyper focus on something or I'm all over the place. And morning pages really help me wrangle it all in. And to think of you sitting down, writing just 3 pages for 30 minutes of whatever you're going through.
Right.
I mean, by the end of 6 months, you'll have a book written yourself. You just give it to someone to rewrite.
So I experiment with different types of edibles, different brands and different things, never over 10 milligrams, because I just can't, it's too much for me. But some I get super creative.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain ones that I'm like, I won't stop thinking of ideas. And I love that one particular one. If I'm like, so that's kind of my, like doing my, you know, my half an hour of writing. I'll take one, lay down and take a nap or something.
Yeah.
And then I can't sleep with some, I just put them in my phone, notes
Right.
of like this idea for this movie or this book, or I was thinking about this or curious about this, or a bunch of random shit.
Well, you mentioned yesterday.
I didn't realize, am I on your wall anywhere?
No.
I saw Miko. I was with Miko this weekend, so I saw him. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, Kane's pissed he wasn't on it either. I should have.
Of course he was pissed.
I'm surprised there's not like Jamie Lloyd dolls.
I'm not quite sure if I don't know. Like, you know, Malik came to the 45th, I guess, the Halloween 45th convention, whatever the
Sean's
last
thing?
one was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, Malik was like, you, the fans love you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at you. You have a line.
Yeah.
It's like, duh,
How
bro.
was he shocked about that? That's what's crazy to me.
Well, I don't really know if the forces at play are aware of like the love they have for me.
Yeah.
Comes right after Jamie Lee Curtis.
I mean, I would say that you guys are both synonymous with it. I hold it up as, because when you think about female characters in Halloween, it's
Right.
just you guys.
Right.
Well, I mean, I guess Scout too, but you know, we're talking original.
Yeah. It's a different, that's like its own separate
Exactly.
thing, you know? So it's interesting. You know, we talk about what they're going to do with it and, you know, blah, 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 the franchise and where it's going to go. And I've always said, I'm like, if I would love to see where Jamie Lloyd is as an adult.
Right.
I've the whole story mapped out in my brain. I have messaged years ago. I had emailed Malik saying, here's all the things that I think would be awesome. Years ago. This is when they were right in the middle of doing the very first 2017 Blumhouse one.
Oof.
And he was like, well, wait, I've got this contract and let's just wait. Like, we'll discuss after, but right now this is just sort of the thing. And I was like, cool, just letting you know that I am here and think this would be an awesome TV show before there was Chucky and all of that stuff. So, you know, I know there's been talks about whatever this universe they're going to create and it's going to follow from the original, but people would be as interested to see my timeline.
Right.
So why can't it be American Horror Story? Why can't there be different? There's so many different timelines. Everybody would love to see. What about each season focuses on something? I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they're doing all of this.
Do you think 6 fucked it up for you?
No, the way I think of 6 is I don't think that was me. Like, this is my take on the character. I think that character, that person was planted in that nut house as a decoy by Loomis. That's my take on the series.
Oh, that's
interesting. I am somewhere else.
Yeah.
I am no longer Jamie. I am a different name, totally protected, sort of similar to how Laurie was. I have my own kids now. Nobody knows the story.
Or even Michael himself.
Nobody knows anything. And then I think that if my kids are in the life of the play, if my kids in the story, this is just my imagination of where I could be right now. Maybe my kids are starting to have the thing that I had. And, they teased it a little bit in the last 3 too. The transference of evil kind of thing. Maybe something's going on or Michael's back, or I don't know what's going to happen, but there's got to be some like, now's the time that I have to now tell my family who I really am and what's going on.
Right.
And then I'm the only living relative aside from my children now.
Yeah.
If Jamie Lee Curtis is really gone, that could stop this. So I have to go back to Haddonfield to face off or to make this go away. There's got to be something there.
Take my money.
Where you get to see what has happened after all those years to her after being a kid, going through all of that stuff. So I think 6 didn't fuck it up for me. And maybe Rob's did. Maybe if I hadn't come back, but then also that brought back the fandom of like, wait a minute, fans want to see her. And I'm still acting. And, so I didn't disappear from the business like most actors from these movies do.
Right.
So I think there's something that I just would love. I came back for Roseanne. I came back in the Halloween franchise. I came back. I even did like Wild Thornberry's stuff on Adult Swim. I came back in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead reboot. Like I keep having these sort of full circle moments. So I feel like Jamie has to come back at some point.
She has to, yeah.
But then Malik told me not to talk about it. So I feel bad. I'm like, I want to keep talking about it.
Right.
Because I feel like if I say it enough, it'll just come true.
Yeah, well, fans have a lot of power, especially within horror. If they really want to see
But are they
something.
listening to the fans?
I think that there needs to be, if they're not, there needs to be a changing of the guard, or we're just not doing a good enough job at making the word feel like it's as relevant as it is.
Because I don't feel like they're making movies for the actual fans anymore. Like I don't know who's running these studios, but they're not making, at least maybe now, but now everybody wants to make a horror movie.
Right. Yeah. There was an interview, I actually think it was with Adam Green, but you were like, why would anybody want to just be in a horror movie? It's the hardest thing to do.
Super hard. Emotionally, physically. I mean, I was actually just talking to a girl about this show, 4 Seasons. And I was talking to Scout about it online and or on our podcast. And it's with Tina Fey and Steve Carell. And Tina Fey created it. It's really good. It's on Netflix. And I think it's on Netflix. Might be on Apple, but one or the other. And somebody dies on the last episode, and I didn't believe any of their acting. I was like, no one here is making me believe that they are really mourning the loss of their best friend. No one. I don't see one real fucking tear for many of these actors that are probably making $1 billion.
Yeah.
So what is that?
Right.
And then I watch some horror movies also over the weekend, and I'm like, this is like they're kind of phoning it in.
Yeah.
And Scout was like, no, that's the way people act now. Like this is it's different. Nobody really, like maybe because the world is so hard or things are so intense that you're not getting that like indie film real like fucking, and then I see like Leo. Leo was on something with something I was watching with him the other day. God, what was it? Some movie that I'm like, this is what I want to watch. And it with Vera Farmiga, I think her name was, like she disappeared off the face of the earth. But I'm like, this to me is like, fuck yes.
Are you talking about that new Paul Thomas Anderson movie?
This was an old movie I was watching.
Oh, okay.
But I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to see. This is real acting to me.
Yeah.
And then I like watch TV shows. I'm like, I haven't done a TV show in so long. And every time I watch a TV show, I'm like, these actors are real fucking vanilla.
I wonder what the logic is behind pulling it back, because as an audience member, you don't want pulled back performances.
You would think,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, because it seems like it is regressing, because when you go back to the 80s, like I rewatched The Last Boy Scout, which I just fucking love.
It's so
anything
good.
Tony Scott does.
Yeah.
True Romance is like the greatest movie
yeah.
ever. But also like even Marked for Death, these 80s films, they just had like a charm to them.
Yeah.
And as we start to progress, 90s had a little bit of a charm, but early 2000s, 2010s, and now it's like nothing.
We're like mummified, or like not mummified, like losing. I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
Do you think it's in the screenplays? Do you think it's in the ideas, or are they just trying to maximize profits?
I think it depends. I think it depends on, I think maximizing profits is probably number one.
Mm-hmm.
And then movies have changed. I mean, there's no middle class anymore. You're either making movies for no money or you're making movies for a lot of money. There's just no way to kind of do it one way or the other. And I find that the movies that are made with little money are the ones that people really kind of pour themselves into. I don't know. The business is changing and I don't like where it's going. It's weird.
Did you get to see any of the horror movies that came out this year so far, like Final Destination? Or?
I did not. And I was just with Devin actually this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were at the convention. No, but I know Devin because I know Devin from like Idle Hands and back in the day, and he was like hanging out with my friend Tara. Well, my friend was my roommate Tara Reid at the time, but so I know these people from different, so I haven't really.
Did you meet her on Urban Legend?
No, she lived with me actually. I was introduced to her. I was her first friend in LA. Before she was even on a soap opera. And then I took her to her Big Lebowski audition.
Oh, wow.
We were already not friends anymore and she moved out of my house and we were on bad terms when we did Urban Legend. Then we made up on Urban Legend. I mean, the reason why she moved out of my house, this is in my book too. The reason why she moved out is she moved out like in the middle of the night because we got into a fight about her inability to be emotional for a screen test that she had. She was screen testing for I Know What You Did Last Summer and Wild Things.
Wow.
She'd already screen tested for I Know What You Did Last Summer and she was having to go back again because they were not sure if she could do it because it was a big scene where she had to be super emotional and cry and whatever. And she was like, I don't know if I can do it. But I knew that she was up against Sarah Gellar and I knew that she was also going to be up against Denise Richards, who was huge at that point for Wild Things. I was like, I don't know what to take, dude. Either way, you're kind of like, this is a hard decision because she was going to have to pick one to test for because they weren't going to let her be in second position for the other one. So I was like, I don't know. So she went, it's a funny story. She went and went to see a hypnotherapist to see what was blocking her from being able to get there emotionally. And she was gone for like 8 hours. We had another roommate at the time, my friend Natalia, who was on Saved by the Bell, the new class. So it was 3 of us living in my house. And her and I got into it because she'd gotten back after 8 hours and she's like, I don't know, dude, it was so weird. Like, I'll never forget it. She's like, I just saw like a big fan and like a red door. Like, I don't know what it means, man. So I was like, did you give her a check or cash? Like, you might want to go get your fucking money back because it doesn't sound like you got much out of anything except fucking ripped off. So she started fighting with me like, you never support me. I'm always your biggest fan, blah, blah, blah. I support everything you do and rooting for you. And you're just like hard on me. And she started crying and I made some stupid joke about you should have paid me. I would have made you cry in 30 seconds. And she went in and slammed her door. And then she moved out in the middle of the night.
Damn.
I came back from work the next day. Both of us, my roommate and I went, I don't know what I was working on, some episodic or something. And she was doing her show. And she came back and we were like, I remember going in and being like, oh my God, her fucking room is empty. And Natalia coming home and going, you were not going to believe this. And we were friends for, I don't know, 5 years, 6, 7 years at that point. So she just bailed and like disappeared like a ghost.
And then how long until you guys reconnected?
Probably 2 years. She moved out of my house into Lindsay Price's house. It was another actress. I don't know if you know who she is, but she's married to Curtis Stone, who's like a big chef now, but she was acting back in the day. So she moved in with Lindsay, who was my friend who I introduced her to. Like, just like weird, I have all these like really ridiculous, weird stories about people that were in and out of my life that are, you would never know it until you read my book.
Well, that's cool. Those are the stories we love hearing, especially when it's other
so ridiculous. At the time that she peed on my couch because she fell asleep.
Tara Reid?
Yes.
That's
we were
amazing.
out drinking. I was like, oh my God. Remember all of our friends were like, don't tell her. Just like stupid, funny shit.
Now, how competitive does it get between actresses? Like going for the same role, one person gets it?
It depends on the actress, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we always had I was always someone that was supportive of my friends getting jobs. I've always been like, happy for you, good for you. If it wasn't me, I'm glad it was you.
Yeah.
The only time that I ever felt like was Neve Campbell a little bit because she kept beating me out for things. And it was like specific things that I wanted. So I cried like the 2 times. I've cried like 3 times in my career for not getting jobs. And 2 of those 3 she got over me.
Which films?
Well, the first one was actually it was Party of 5 was the first thing. It was that TV series that she did forever. And I had already tested a bunch of times and she came in from Canada And it was like, they weren't sure about casting me yet, even though I've been back and forth for weeks in and out of network. And then she came in and she got it. And I was pissed because they called me in between the last test and this one. It was for Fox. And they were like, you need to come in and dress sexier. And I was like, I'm playing 15. And the scene I was reading in network was about having never been kissed by a boy. And it was taking place in the library.
Ew.
Me and talking to my brother, Bailey. And I was very confused on why they were like, wear a dress, wear some heels, have it be a little see-through-ish, don't wear a bra, like very specific about, which is fucked up. I was 15, maybe 16, almost 16. My mom drove me, so I was maybe 16. So when I got there dressing sexy, she rolled up, I'll never forget it, in a tube top and overalls and sneakers. Like sitting in the corner all hunched over, like kind of messy. And I thought, I feel like an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm wearing high heels and a fucking sundress.
Like they set you up.
It was weird.
Yeah.
And then the notes from Fox were that I was not fuckable enough looking.
Jesus Christ. Fox said that? My God, dude.
I mean, she had big old titties, but maybe that's why she ended up getting it. But I mean, they were very on. Knew the casting was friends with my agent, so I got the inside scoop of like what really went wrong. Yeah. Like, what did I do? And they were like, it's nothing to do with your performance, nothing to do with this. They just feel like they wanted someone more attractive, whatever. It happens often. And so it was that. So I cried. I was really like, and that would have changed my career. That's really what gave her a career, was that show. Yeah. And then she beat me out for The Craft.
Oh, wow.
Which I was really pissed. I went to screen test. I was like, son of a bitch. It's fucking me and Neve again.
Oh, that's cool. I never knew you auditioned for that movie.
Yeah. So I was very upset about that because I really wanted to do that movie. And then I cried. I tested against Laura Prepon for That 70s Show. So I could have been Donna on That 70s Show, which would have also changed my world.
Yeah, that would have been fucking huge. I religiously watched that show.
I mean, I came off of a Carsey Warner show. I was on Roseanne, and they were like, I'd gone in and, met with them and read for them and had gone pretty far. But that character was written as a 16-year-old Italian girl from, wherever she was from. Didn't look anything like what I imagined Donna to be, this like tall fucking Irish redhead. Yeah. It's not the way she was described. So, she got it. And then I hear I was like 18 and struggling to be an adult actor and financially support myself and dealing with all that stuff and not able to get a job because this or this or this. Yeah. So it was like, I don't know what to do.
Was there much of a transition between being a child actor and an adult actor? I mean, was it hard for you?
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
I mean, also like it's probably harder now because I am closer to 50, which is weird to say. So I've been doing it a long time and people know me for a long time, but so they know my age in theory and they know, but like I'm not playing on camera someone that's close to 50 yet. So I'm just now having kids in movies. Just now, even when my kids are like teenagers, it's weird for me to even see that, even though I very well could have teenagers. So most of my friends have teenagers, but to see me in like Stream or Natty Knox, where I have teenagers, it's fucking weird visually to see that. So I don't think people really quite know yet what to do with me. I just got a new agent in the South. So I'm like, let me get back on TV. Just like that, you have to be hired as local. I'm like, I'll fly myself in and put myself up. I will work for scale. It doesn't matter what the pay. It's not about the money. I need to get back into the groove of playing different characters, of playing different stuff. So people start going, oh, wait a second. She can still do this or still do that. Or, I just don't know how to act for TV anymore. I think I'm too good of an actor to do TV anymore. I'm like, I have to fucking dumb it down.
That is ridiculous. I'm struggling to even think that that's accurate. Like, don't be a good actor. Scale it back. Yeah, and I heard her saying it. She was like, no, more Netflix, more CBS. And I was like,
it's weird, right?
Yeah, you want great acting, especially, some of these shows like Ozark on Netflix,
of course,
they're crushing it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But those are film actors.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. So do you like doing TV more or do you like doing films more?
I like the consistency of television.
Mm-hmm.
I've only had one series that went for 2 years, and it was like the best time of my life. So I loved having sort of a home base. The steady work definitely is a stress reliever.
Yeah,
for sure. I like doing horror movies. But I also go in saying like, I don't want to be a lead. I'd rather come in for 2 or 3 days.
Oh,
I've got
really?
kids now. Yeah. That's too hard for me. I've done that. I would be the lead if it was something really great, but if I'm not taking roles. I don't know if you saw, I did a movie called Shiver years ago with John Jarrett, and I have a really good role in that. And I mean, even Hatchet, with Mary Beth stuff, like that shit is hard.
Or Stakeland. You had a pretty significant part in that movie.
Stakeland was like, I was worried to take that movie because I felt like I was a glorified extra. Before I went and got on set, I was like, I have like 2 scenes where I have lines, and then I'm just there.
Yeah.
I'm just there all the time. And I'm outside, and I'm going to be fucking freezing. So do I really want to do this movie? And there's also no money. So like,
it was cool because it was good though.
it was
Like,
really, but
actually
you
a good
didn't know
movie.
till you get on set.
Yeah.
Until I saw it. I'm actually going to do an interview. They're doing a book on Jim Mickle, who's also still a great friend of mine.
Oh, wow.
And I still talk to Connor, and I used to go visit those guys in New York, and I loved doing that movie. I had such a fucking good time on that movie, and I had hardly anything to do, but it was beautiful, and the character was developed, and like, I didn't have to do I didn't have to say stuff to still be relevant in the picture.
And they went there, like I think one of the first scenes, a fucking baby is being eaten.
I mean, but that's a testament to the director.
Right.
He's so good.
Yeah.
And he should, I messaged him recently about, I was like, help me with film festival stuff. Because we did tons of festivals with Stakeland.
Mm-hmm.
I was touring Stakeland and Hatchet 2 at the same time. They were all in the same festivals. So I would be with Adam and then with Jim and, this junket to that junket, that screening to that screening. And I said, Jim, help me with the politics of this. And do you have contacts? And he was like, sadly, I don't really not that involved in film anymore. I'm more into the TV stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn, but you're such a good filmmaker.
Yeah.
Like what made you go, oh, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to live with something for a year. Do you want to do that? If you're going to spend a year on a movie, it's got to be, as a director, it has to be something that isn't so intense. It's got to be fun and funny and have moments of light and in kind of an easier ride. I don't want to do something. I don't want to be number 1 on the call sheet.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be home with my family.
Yeah. Well, and
It's
you're
too much
past all
work.
that. Been there, done that.
I'm not interested. I don't need to prove anything anymore. I've done all of the hard and like intense characters. So I don't really want to work that hard anymore.
Yeah.
I have to be committed. I have to go like, I'm going to disappear for 6 weeks. And I cannot handle any responsibilities in my life outside of this role that I'm focusing on.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that entails yet, because I don't really want to take that time away from my family while I'm still like, my kids are growing up fast, so I don't want to miss any more stuff.
Well, with how backstabby Hollywood could be, I could imagine not really wanting to jump back into, getting to know a whole new cast of people, or, even some of these premieres. And I'm not trying to be a sensationalist here, but I think when you were talking about your Jamie Lee Curtis story on your podcast,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, man, we've all been invited to an event before where you show up and the people there are acting like, who the fuck are you?
Mm-hmm.
And you're just
yeah.
I'm here as a guest.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of like rushing you around and you already are feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then for you to encounter like one of your heroes.
I mean, but it started way before that night. It was us. Like I flew myself, Malik invited me, but like I flew myself in. I was, living in Texas. I was like, this is my shot at like being on the carpet with Jamie Lee Curtis and Scout. Like this is a big fucking deal. So I'm going to do it up. And then we got our own Uber, and the fucking guy didn't have air conditioning, and Scout and I are like dying in the back of the car, like dripping sweat, trying to stay cute. Like what the fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And then the security wouldn't let us get close to where drop-offs were for guests of the carpet. So we had to get dropped off on the corner of like fucking Hollywood and Highland, schlep down through the parking lot all the way down Hollywood Boulevard to be like, who are you? Are you on the list? I'm sorry, your COVID test, there's Scout. She's like, your COVID test didn't come back yet, so you can't go. You have to redo it here and you have to wait an hour. And she was like, what the fuck is going on here? And then when we got on, nobody cared. But I hadn't been to a premiere since 2009.
When you say nobody cared, like
none of the photographers cared that we were there. None of the press knew who we were. Nobody gave 2 shits about us being there. Nobody.
So from the
fans
yes,
that were in the bleachers that were being, sanctioned off from everybody else were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But everybody there, any interview, anything we wanted to, it was like, they couldn't be bothered with us.
Right.
And as soon as Jamie was approaching, everybody get the fuck off of the carpet and out of the way.
I hate that.
And I was like, well, here goes my shot at like.
Because now they're just doing it up for her. They're not even really authentic.
Well, they were also doing it up for Instagrammers and TikTokers and all the Instagrammers, influencers. I didn't know who anybody was. Like the chick that rolled up in a white dress with fake bloodstains got more interviews and more pictures taken than Scout and I did.
The TikTok dancing Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember when that picture first came out, you guys all together.
Yeah.
Before the story came out. And it went viral as fuck on Twitter.
And I knew it would, which is why I was like, we need to take a picture together.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, please, God, someone make this happen.
Yeah.
And we sort of pushed ourselves to like, can you please? And the photographer was really nice. And I was like, could you please do this? And he was like, absolutely. He knew who Scout and I were and who, Heather and, oh my God, who else was with us? Amanda Weiss. So it's like, this is an epic moment, but I have to make sure that we do this. So, and we did that picture after we introduced ourselves to her. But it's funny is she sent, I don't know if you heard this on our show, but she sent, one day I'll let you read her messages to me. She messaged me on Instagram.
Wow.
After her daughter apparently told her that we had talked about her on our show and how not nice she was to us. So her daughter told her, people are now talking about how you were to them and you need to reach out. So she reached out to me, but she confused us. So she wrote Scout and me, but thought I was Scout and Scout was me.
Jesus.
So Scout's like, I think this is for you. And I think yours is to me. And, and then I wrote back to her. Scout wrote her back. I wrote her back and she continued to reply to me quite a bit. And then she sent my kids a bunch of books and autographed all of them and then wrote inside them, changed some of the characters' names to Jagger and Carter. And I have a dozen books of hers now that are personalized and very specific to my children.
Yeah.
So I get it now. She was feeling overwhelmed and bombarded, and I was now on the other side of expecting to have an experience with her the way fans are with me. And she couldn't give it to me and I was upset.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, that's the stuff that I have to be wary of making sure that I don't ever get that way. I mean, I'm not at the level she is, not that it's any excuse, but I don't think I would ever do that anyway.
Yeah, but that's subjective because I've met so many people where the Jamie Lloyd character means more to them than Lori.
I don't think she knows.
Yeah.
Her apology to me was I'm sorry that I didn't know what your relationship within these characters was.
Mm.
And I kept saying it has nothing to do with my storyline being of your storyline. It was, she said something when she got up before the movie premiere that resonated with me. And she said, and I quote, "There are two things that I will leave behind as my legacy, Halloween and my children." And I thought, oh, fuck, that's me. That's what I'm going to leave behind. My legacy in the Halloween franchise and my children.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to just tell her that. And she just would have so I really was it really was about sharing this, not you should know who I am, I played your daughter. Who gives a shit? But it was this is something that you and I have similarly, and it means a lot to me. And you struck a chord, and I just want you to know that I appreciate that. And it just wasn't heard. So it was a little, and then I got pictures of her. She just became a little kooky and funny. And it was just kind of crazy how she was just then messaging afterwards. And I was like, okay, she's just kind of quirky like that.
Yeah.
So I don't hold any resentment or whatever. She doesn't know me. Who cares?
Well, you could go one of two ways when you're famous for so long. You could go the way that you've gone where you just don't want to treat people how you've been treated badly.
Yeah, sure.
Or you could just be fucking over it. The talking to people, the going to the, having a podcast. I'm not sure if you guys go through guests saying no all the time, but some of these people just don't want to talk anymore.
Right.
And not even just oh, I don't want to answer the same questions. They're I don't care.
Right.
Clive Barker's Book of Blood, he came out with a new edition. There's an entire intro of it. And he's when I was young, I used to want to be in front of every camera, every this. He's now I don't even want to, I want to completely leave the industry. I don't like it.
Yeah. I think if I could just do, I don't know. I think it changes every day. I definitely am. I enjoy conversation. That's the psychology, wanting to be a psychiatrist kind of part, not psychiatrist because wouldn't be prescribing meds, but psychologist or a, psychoanalyst actually. But I get not wanting to have to talk, which is why I wear fucking headphones on an airplane. Like biggest pet peeve, don't fucking talk to me when I'm sitting on an airplane. I don't want to have a conversation. You are too close to my space.
Yeah.
You see, I've got headphones on, at the bar last night. Like, I don't want to have a conversation, bro. Like I talk all day to people. The last thing I want. And I get it. My kids are the same way. I'm like, they're like, oh, mom, too many questions. I'm like, oh my God. Sorry, you've had a lot going on today with school and camp and whatever. I totally understand. So I get not wanting to talk anymore and kind of disappear and do, fashion stuff or whatever. But this is my job and my world that I've created for myself. And it's then afforded me financially the opportunity to do great things with my family, to be able to go places and have nice things and take trips and really experience the world that I don't know if I would have if I had gotten out of the business.
Well, and it's so specific to this job. Like,
yeah.
I don't think there's another job we could compare to this industry, especially, filmmaking in general, but even just this new wave of making content.
Yeah.
Your whole
like
life.
vertical actors. Have you heard about that?
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah. That's that's apparently a new thing.
What is it?
It's, I didn't know. Oh, let me know about time too.
I
flight boards at 4:30, just so you know.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. I don't know what time.
We're at 1:58. I was thinking about going to like,
no, we're still good. As long as I figure out like I need to leave by boarding at 4:30, I should be at the airport by 3:15 ish, and then we could do whatever. I want to show you my my trailer for our movie. Did I show you? No, I didn't show you.
No, not yet.
It's going to be a breakout for fucking Heather Langenkamp. That's for sure.
Oh, she's in it.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, this is like an insane role for her.
When did you guys wrap shooting?
December.
Oh, okay.
Christmas Eve.
So it literally just finished.
Yeah, we just finished. We just locked picture last week, and we're just now doing our sound mix.
Okay, cool.
And our visual effects. We've got Josh Petrino doing VFX, who did all Terrifier stuff and all the hatchets and all that stuff. So he's doing all of our visual effects. Most of it's practical, but practical never works. So we have, and Heather's company did, her husband's company, David Lee Roy Anderson's company did our makeup and our special effects on set, which he wanted to come on and do it after we were talking to Heather. I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then Robert Mukes, which is also, that was a happy accident. He's amazing. He plays a character named Monster. Then my friend Jeremy, who lives here, Jeremy Spencer, was the drummer from Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh.
So he has a character that he's been doing on his Instagram for years called Harold, that he'd written a script years ago wanting me to be in, and then COVID hit, and he was going to put his own money, and I was like, you're not going to put in all of your own money right now. Like, just wait. And then he didn't do it, and then we had this movie, and there was another character named Rocky 5 in our script. I was like, this is really my friend Jared. This is really my friend Jeremy's character that he's already created.
Wait, his name's Rocky 5?
It was in the movie, and we changed it to Harold. And because Harold was like a thing. So I called him up and I'm like, hey, do you want to be Harold, like bring Harold into this movie? Because this is so like perfect.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to kind of experience him be on a horror movie set. He's such a rock star in my mind. And now I want him to do conventions, and, he's going to do this one in Kentucky. He's going to come on our live that we're doing there. And, but like he's signing there too. And then like the promoter called and was like, I just saw Jeremy Spencer bought tickets to the show, but he's coming to do your live and he's going to sign, but he bought tickets to come into the show. Like, I was like, he's so special. Like, he doesn't understand how this works, like, so having to kind of go, no, you get a badge. Like, you're going to be working here for the weekend, and he's like, oh, nobody's going to know me. And I'm like, dude, he's like, oh, my music's for a bunch of like, dads that are, I was like, that's who go to horror conventions. Like, right. These are people our age that like grew up with this stuff and are fans like you are, who are going to totally fucking know who you are. Mm-hmm. So, but Heather came on this and was like, I really want to do this role. I really want to do it. We're like, this is a role that you've never done before. And she's so fucking good in this. Everyone's like, I cannot believe that's Heather Langenkamp. So wow. I really believe this is going to like, I hope that this like start something huge for her again, because she pretty much just runs David's company and is like always doing stuff for him. I don't think she's had that chance yet.
Yeah, well, because a lot of people will have another role outside of a horror film where it breaks them into like this other echelon of fans. Mm-hmm. You've had that, and I don't know if Heather's really had much outside of Nightmare on Elm Street, but she's always been such a great actress.
She's so much better in this than she's ever been in anything else.
That's amazing.
And maybe it's because she got to play. Like she really got to play. Her character name is Bobby Love. And she's in a full, huge wig. She looks like Tammy Faye Baker. She's like an ex-showgirl from Vegas.
Yeah.
That's her character. So
cool.
she's like, does all these crazy like dance numbers and like all this weird fucking shit. That's just so good. And you know, when you read it, you're like, this is a Barbara Crampton role. This is a Dee Wallace role. It's like, let's think outside the box here on who this is. And Scout and I were like, Heather.
That's amazing.
And also to do a movie with her, to star opposite her.
Right.
You know, it was great. And Monica Keena's in it from Freddy vs. Jason, and known Monica for years. So we're like the four. We're representing basically, you know, Halloween, Nightmare, and Friday the 13th through Monica.
Well, that's incredible. And I love to see that you guys are doing that and, you know, going on to bigger things, because I think that really is the next evolution. And filmmaking is having a lot of trouble right now. I mean, I think just as you said, there's no middle ground. It's either no budget or a giant one. So I'll definitely be rooting for you. I know everybody at home will. And I think this is probably a great time to wrap it up, because I know you got a flight to make here pretty soon.
Yeah,
so.
and then I'm gonna use your restroom while I show you the video.
Of course. Well, let me let everybody at home know that on Instagram, please follow Danielle Harris at Horror Gal, website, danielleharris.com, right?
Yeah.
Because there's also .net.
Yep.
And then for Talk Scary to Me, do you want people on Patreon? Because I know it's on Spotify as well.
Yeah, so Patreon's the video, you know, which we don't have on Spotify. And that's the only way that we actually make any money. It's $5 a month and you get the videos and other stuff we're doing. But like we've been able to tap into that, and that's what we've paid. Like we only budgeted certain amount of money for our movie, but we've been able, as Talk Scary to Me Productions, to pay for extra, you know, extra things like everything that we didn't have in the budget that we needed as far as post. You know, if we only have enough for this, then I don't want to shoot myself in the foot. So it's like, I know I don't want to disrespect you by offering you the $2,000 that we have set aside for sound. So I know you've quoted 3 times that, and I need you to do this, and this is important. So Talk Scary to Me is picking up and has picked up out of our own pocket all of the extras that we needed. I mean, even down to like wardrobe. It's like, here's money to go get what you need for this actor that needs this look or wants this changed or whatever. And they're like, we don't have it. So Scout and I have just stroked checks the entire way to make what we want to make. And are only able to do that realistically through Patreon because we're not on YouTube yet. I don't know how to, we're working on that stuff, trying to get the videos up and all that. But that's the way we stay afloat, you know, that and come to our lives. We've got 4 lives this year. We've got a live in Virginia Beach. We've got a live in Houston. That's the next one actually in August. That's Houston Horror Film Festival. That's a great one. They're all great. We have our Spooky Empire live. We've got Kentucky Fright Fest. I'm sorry, Scarefest, Kentucky. Fright Fest is UK. That's another big one. And that one we've got very special surprises for all of them. And we're going to be screening our trailer there as well. And I know for sure the one in Kentucky, we have guest, Heather Langenkamp will be our guest for our Kentucky show, as well as Jeremy Spencer and Robert Mukes.
Very cool. And those are some of the best guests you could possibly get on a podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
But nonetheless, I thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I mean, you booked your own flights. I know how busy things are. Unbelievable.
We've been working for a while trying to make it happen. And I was like, it's hard for me to get from there just to come here. It's hard for me to make myself that time.
Yeah.
But being close, I was like, I can make happen.
Well, thank you.
Of course.
It like literally means the world, and hopefully we'll work together again soon.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good.
Well, everybody at home, peace.
Bye.